Are you a woman juggling the demands of caregiving while battling the overwhelming symptoms of menopause? If so, this episode is for you. Join us in the Menowave Lounge as we dive into one woman's inspiring journey as a devoted caregiver to her husband battling Parkinson's disease. Her story is one of strength, faith, and resilience as she shares struggles with her own menopause combined with the stress of caregiving. But through unwavering faith and determination, she found a path to balance and self-care. Tune in to discover how her story can inspire you and reassure you that you're not alone, and provide valuable insights and resources for navigating both menopause and caregiving. Stay tuned to learn about the supportive online community she's created to uplift and empower women just like you. You're not going to want to miss this uplifting episode.
Hi, everyone. Welcome to the Menowave Lounge, hot flashes and cool conversations. I'm Coach Robin, and this is Marti Daly. And today we have Kimberly Mayfield. Hi, Kimberly.
Thank you for having me. I'm excited to be here.
Well, we're excited to have you.
Most of us can relate to the stress, anxiety, and overwhelm that often comes with menopause. Now, going through that while serving as a caregiver to a loved one, how do you keep going? Kim, who is our guest today, she knows because she's living it right now. Not only did she go through surgical menopause at a young age while raising small children, but now she finds herself in midlife becoming a caregiver to her husband who is fighting Parkinson's. And we're excited to talk with her today because she's going to share her inspirational story about how breaking the chains of her own silent stress has led her to a mission to help support other women going down a similar journey. She is also a health and mental wellness coach whose passion is to connect with women and help them recognize that they are overcomers and they can live a happy, healthy life despite the struggles. We are so happy to have you with us.
Oh, thank you. It's good to be here.
We like to start all of our episodes with a fun mental moment because we're all going through this together and to kind of share what comes up in our day. I'll go ahead and start us off. What's been really coming to me lately is, like, I'm Gen X, right? We grew up with computers. We grew up, just thinking of the evolution of the things we've had to learn and how to make this magic on our computer's desktop work. And I'm good at that. Or so I thought up until the last couple of years, when it's just the silliest things. Like, my computer went to sleep. My laptop went to sleep and it wouldn't wake up. And I'm like, and it still won't wake up. And then I'm starting to get upset. And my husband is like, what in the world are you doing? That's not going to help. And finally, I have to pick it up and say, you do it. You wake this thing up because I just don't, there's some disconnect. And then he's looking at me stupid, like, what? And he literally will just like wiggle the mouse or do something. He goes, was that so hard? And it makes me nuts because no, it's not so hard. But apparently it was too much for this in that moment to comprehend. And then I find things too with, software programs and passwords. I can't remember any passwords ever. I can't remember where to find the passwords that are saved into the password program. It's just, that's the thing that's like sticking up for me, especially doing a lot of the work that I'm doing with this podcast behind the scenes, with the technical stuff, with the posting to the social medias and editing, and stuff that wouldn't have bothered me like a few years ago is like, oh, I don't really know where the on key is. And thankfully it's not every day and it's not every moment of every day. It really literally only happens maybe, a couple of times a month for just a few minutes. But boy, I think you ladies can relate. When that sort of thing happens, it's just like, it's everything. It's like, oh, what am I doing here?
Well, I can totally relate to that. And it does seem like it takes a little longer to problem solve for, simple things that we took for granted and that we did every day. And now it's a little bit slower. Like, I'm taking a trip coming up, and it just seems like before I could plan the trip like that. And now it's like, okay, what do I take? Why am I taking this? You're trying to think ahead, getting everything together that I need to, so that it's not so last minute. So now it takes me more like a couple days or a week in order to get everything. So I open up my suitcase. And so as I'm going through the day, I'm throwing things in. It's like, okay, yeah, I'm going to need that. Oh, it's a toothbrush, So it does seem like there are things that are a lot slower than they used to be that we took for granted when we were younger. What about you, Kimberly?
Well, I will tell you a hilarious one, and I hate to admit this, but I'll tell it anyway because surely somebody else can relate. Typically it'd be my husband that does this, but you go in and you fix a sandwich, right? And you're like, you have the lettuce and the cheese and the bread and the ham, what turkey, whatever it is that you fix, and you fixed it all. And so I'm a notorious for I want to put everything back away before I give it to him so that I have my part done, and then he can eat or whatever. And so I do a sandwich and I put everything back in the refrigerator and I'm getting a napkin and going to take him a sandwich. And I'm like, well, where in the heck is that sandwich? I know I just fixed a sandwich, right? I mean, I just fixed it. And so I probably put it in the refrigerator. So I'm looking all in the refrigerator, looking for the sandwich. I didn't put it in the refrigerator. Where in the world could it be? I mean, he didn't come and get it, right? Where's it at? And you're like, it's like having the glasses on your head and you're looking
Yeah.
everywhere for them. And then there they are. But okay, so the only place you hadn't looked is the trash or the bread. Okay, so you go back to the cupboard and you look at the bread and your sandwich is dad blame in the bread sandwich with the lettuce and everything, right? What did I do? So one of those moments you're like, I'm not supposed to be this way. You're supposed to have it all together, right? But it's just one of those moments. So now I love to call it my minnow moment.
Absolutely.
So
I'm glad you found it when you did, because can you imagine like, oh, because it would be the kind of thing that I would do would be to go and make another sandwich, like maybe in a couple of days, and pull the bread out and be like, found the sandwich.
there it is. Oh, you always backtrack, girl. You say, Lord, what? You always say, Lord, what'd I do with that? And he'll take you back to that place, right? It's losing your car keys, it's like, I know I had them right here, but okay. So anyway, that's a minnow moment for me.
That's a good one. That's a really
That's
good one. Thank you
awesome.
for sharing that one. It makes me laugh. All right. Well, getting into it, gosh, Kim, you have such a great story. I want to kind of set the scene, because I've mentioned in the intro, you actually started your whole menopause journey early. You mind sharing us with that story? First, tell us like what your life was before, and then what happened through the menopause.
Yeah. So actually, I had two children, 11 and a half months apart. I knew I wasn't going to have any more kids because didn't get no sleep for a couple of years because if one woke up, the other one woke up. I had my tubes tied, but I started having a lot of problems at not long after I had my kids, actually. So I was relatively young when finally, after several years of going through some excruciating pain and endometriosis and different things, they decided to do a partial hysterectomy. And me saying, I'm not going to have any more kids, please just take it all. I didn't want to fool with all this. But he did a partial. And I still kept having a lot of pain. Within 9 months, he had to go in and do a complete. I had to have a complete at the age of 27, I think I was. So between 26 and 28 was the two surgeries. I can't exactly remember, but back then they didn't really educate you. The question I got was, are you going to have any more kids? Are you positive? That was drilled many times, but not the repercussions of long term of what I would be dealing with or go through. So of course they put me on some hormones and the mood swings was pretty bad. But I was sharing with you girls too, my pain was so excruciating. I also during that time, they didn't think it was interstitial cystitis, but I had some bladder issues and that was causing a lot of my pain. So they had a urologist on standby while I was having my hysterectomy, although he was positive it wasn't going to turn out to be that. So, but it was. So that being said, I had several procedures at that same time, but it did alleviate my excruciating pain I was having and going through at the time. But that being said, I would be burning up and regulating your hormones. I mean, they just give you a pill basically, and you go on your way. It's not really like it is today. You have some blood work and you wait and see and different ways that I've found that works differently now. But I experienced a lot of those things at the same time. An antidepressant was given because to help with all the balance of all that. And so my husband and kids would call it my happy pill. And back then you don't do a lot of research. We didn't have Google. We didn't have all these things. You just did what the doctor told you, right?
Yeah, so kind of going back a little bit. So because here you are, you're like in your late 20s, you're a new mom. I mean, you've got young children and you're in all of this discomfort, you're in all this pain. And one, they're telling you, well, this can't possibly be what it is. And then, which, as you just said in your surgery, oh, that's what it was. But then you said that they just gave you a pill and sent you on your way. I know you said a antidepressant. Was that the only thing they gave you, or did they give you like a hormone? And did they tell you what it was
Yeah.
for? Or any of that?
Yeah, I mean the hormone as well.
Yeah.
Yes, that's what I was meaning, a pill for my hormones. But then you're given a certain milligrams, and 6 months they might have checked back. I can't remember exactly, but I know I dealt with a lot of the same symptoms and thought I would be done with all that. Like I'd never go through some of the same ones that we'll talk about in a minute that I've been experiencing the last few years.
Yeah.
That's really interesting because you were at like a different age, a different mindset. You had children and you're having menopausal symptoms. And as we know, that's more than just hot flashes and weight gain and different things like that. I mean, it can be like the whole emotional roller coaster part of it. So how was that for you? Did you realize that was happening, or did you just think it was part of the life that was happening to you at the moment?
I'm a pretty active person, so I feel like if I hadn't have been the personality type I was, it would have been much worse. However, it was an emotional roller coaster, and you don't realize and know why. And you don't have support and those kinds of things then, because all my friends were still vibrant, young. They weren't experiencing the things that I was at the time, as far as my body and the whole mental capacity that we do go through.
Did you have any role models, like older female relatives or friends going through menopause, that were like able to help you along, or were they like completely shut down and like, here you are, you're 27, 28 years old. What are you not dealing with this?
Yeah, I really didn't. I was thinking about that. And I didn't really have the women in my life that even really tell you, okay, this is what I went through at this age, or this is what, even childbearing, I just don't remember being educated like I'm hearing my daughter-in-laws share with things with me that they're educated about. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So
definitely.
it's kind of like you just deal with it and go on. You know what I'm saying? So I really didn't have that.
Did you have any time of like any sort of reprieve over these 20 odd years that where you felt better during that time as you're raising your family and you're working? What was your life like then?
I've always been very health conscious. I've always exercised and always hiked. And I mean, if you're going to do it, I'm right there with you. I'm just one of those. My husband was a big avid hunter and fisherman, and I was always with him, and he didn't hike trails, so being active, I think, keeps the dopamine going in your brain, keeps your serotonin going, all the things that we need anyway. I will say I've never had necessarily a weight issue. I remember I was as tiny after I had my children, but once I had my hysterectomy, I remember looking back at pictures, I did gain weight right after that. And nothing had really changed except for my hysterectomy. And I'm only educated about that now, as looking back and as we're talking, that was a time in my life I had gained. Of course, then being active and stuff, I got it off, but I hear that we struggle with that through menopause and all the things. And I hear a lot of women say that. Well, now I can relate back to that. So the weight gain, I'm experiencing that in the past year as I've been having night sweats and, oh my gosh, waking up in the night and what is going on with me? And, having to change sheets and change clothes. I'm like, what in the world? So I did find a new doctor. I'm not one to toughen it through anything, especially being a caregiver. I have to toughen it through a lot of other areas in my life. So I choose to do the troches, the compounding hormones.
Yes.
And I will just say for me, it's been working wonderfully. And so that's where I'm at. I'm not promoting any of that. I'm just saying for me, I have to do what I have to do to make my everyday life as good as I can. And so it's really helped me.
Well, then that's good. That's what keep it up and getting going, because otherwise we just kind of fall apart. May I ask, did your doctor share with you like why things started to change? We'll talk about the stress and being a caregiver in just a moment, but just getting back to the whole hormonal thing, because you'd had your hysterectomy a while back, you took what they gave you. Did she give you any insights? Did things change because you got older, or were things just never quite balanced the way that they needed to be? Did you get any new insights as time's gone on?
Yeah, and that is a good question. And it had been 30 some years. And, I just did what the doctors say, or I had been taken. But like I said, when I found this new lady that has really listened to me and explained to me what my body was going through, she explained to me that my body could still go through all this hormones and menopause.
That's interesting, because I don't think a lot of women are aware of that, because I certainly wasn't. I learned that today, because I thought, okay, well, if you've gone through surgical menopause, then
I don't want to interrupt you. Well, also, it's just like having a pap smear. Like in my mind, I wouldn't have to have them, but you still need them at this age, they tell me. And I'm like, I was arguing with these doctors, like, I don't need no pap smear. I don't have anything. So you know what I mean? And
yeah.
that wasn't ever explained to me either at a younger age of why that's important. And I had precancer before. There's a lot of reasons why I had to have that hysterectomy.
Well, that's interesting, comparing the time frame in your life. And I think that just goes back to how our hormones are so important. Our body produces them even when we're younger to when they're depleting when they're older. And at this age, to go through it so radically, I mean, it's such a big change for your body to go through. And then for you to kind of come back from that and have like a little bit of a lull. And now menopause has more of the menopause symptoms have kind of come back, if I hear what you're saying. Right. I've talked to ladies that are in their 60s and they still have a lot of menopausal symptoms. And I've talked to other ladies that they're in their 50s and they no symptoms whatsoever. And that'd be great. It just goes to show how individual our bodies are.
I know my mom, she's never taken anything. She just went through it. And now I'm not saying she didn't need to. I encourage it.
Right.
But no, but yeah, she never took anything. And my grandmother never took anything.
That's interesting, because the older ages, you got to think about how different their lifestyles were in, like, say, the 40s, 50s, or even 60s. I mean, our food was so much healthier. You were actually feeding yourself real food. We exercised more. We weren't so electronically plugged in. So, yeah, our menopausal symptoms were probably a lot lighter or different than they are today. And I'm just saying a lot of environment affects our symptoms as well.
Good point.
I'd like to now move into talking about what's come up for you the last few years, who you have been living your life, working with you and your husband. Tell us about what happened with your husband and his health. How old is he? How old are you? What changed in your life, and what's been going on?
So I'm 56. My husband is now 61. He was diagnosed with young onset Parkinson's the final diagnosis was at 52. Looking back, we realized that he had symptoms that you wouldn't think was symptoms of Parkinson's prior to us being diagnosed. So for the last 9 years, we've been on this journey of fighting it together. And that's how I'm going to say it, because it is, a lot of people are so uneducated about Parkinson's and they just think it's for older people and they just think it's a tremor, but it's so much more. It's a neurological disease, and that of the brain, and no two people are the same. Yeah, they might have some of the same symptoms, but as far as time, when, you can research all you want to, and I'm a researcher, and I think that's one reason, and that's what the doctors say is, because I had to stay on top of being an advocate for him. We've been married 33 years. When people say, well, how do you do it? Well, first of all, we're committed to each other. And second of all, it is a roller coaster ride. It's a lot of emotions, a lot of things, but we truly love each other, and that's what gets you through. And I'll just say caregivers are not giving, and I've been a caregiver since I was 12 years old, and that's my love language, is acts of service for other people. I was raised, and in our day, you care for your own. So my grandparents cared for their parent. And so at 12, I was staying up at night with her, well, my great grandmother. And then it was to my grandmother and then my dad. And so, in other words, I have that about me. But yeah, it's not an easy journey, but I have grown as a person, and I am finding ways of making things easier for him, if that makes sense. So that's helped, and we've been blessed we've moved from our house that we lived in our whole entire lives, and the Lord's blessed us. And I could tell you all kinds of stories, but it's basically handicap accessible. So it should be a wonderful place to grow old in and be able to meet his needs.
Would you mind sharing about how the impact of being a caregiver these last few years to him and all that goes into it, the impact that's had on you, on your physical and emotional health?
Yeah. So one of the reasons I become more toward a mental health is because I see such a need for, we address physical health all the time, what we look like, being in shape and all the things, but we don't think about the mental health until as the past few years. Honestly, when COVID hit, I think a lot of people started dealing with a lot of more mental health. I don't know if you guys see that, but I see it a lot in the caregiver groups too. It's just, I see a lot get so burnt out. I'm still young, I get that, and I still get outlets here and there, but going through menopause, I'll go back to that, and then just all the stress that you're feeling like you're living a life for 5 people that needs to be managed, so it is hard. It can be hard, but every day's not hard. I'll put it that way. Every day's not hard. So you can make fun with it as well.
Well, it has to be rewarding to be able to be a caregiver. I mean, that's something to be so proud of, because not everybody can do that. And especially with menopausal symptoms on top of it. I don't know that I could do it. I can take care of my dog, but taking care of another human being, that's just amazing. But also too, I understand that it's a lot of work. It is. And it's a labor of love completely, because this is your partner, your spouse, and you've been through so much together. So why wouldn't you want to take care and make sure that he's getting the best care possible? And you're the best person to be able to give him the best care, right?
Right. The mental part of it is, and what I see, because I'm on a lot of caregiver sites and I comment a lot and I post a lot of positive, what I see is where I had somewhat of a mind shift well over a year ago was, and I don't have to do everything perfect. And it depends on your personalities. You have to let some things go. And that was part of my mental healing, I feel like, or working on that is, okay, it's okay. Like, did I have a perfect house when I was raising my kids? Heck no. What does it matter now? It's just, and then I also began to tell myself what you just said. It's my pleasure to take care of you. I'm just happy I'm able to take care of you. I'm thankful I'm able to take care of you, because he is precious. He constantly thanks me. He's much aware of my giving up certain things because of where we're at now. A lot of caregivers don't get that. I mean, and I get that. So we're all in a different place. But my hope is that I can inspire caregivers to take care of themselves. And they'll say, well, how am I supposed to take care of myself when I'm taking care of him and all the other things? And I get it. I have property to take care of. I have cows to take care of. I have a house to take care of. I pay all the bills. I have him to take care of. I have myself to take care of. I have grandbabies. I have kids. We all wear multiple hats. It's how do we wear those hats when we have them on?
Yes. And how do you balance all that and still find time for yourself to recharge and just keep your sanity, so to speak? Because with a lot of those hats on, where's the time for yourself in all of this?
That's a really good question too. And that's what I hear a lot of caregivers say. When do you expect me to? But here's the other thing. Here's one of the things I have learned from listening to other people is why not call one of his friends and say, hey, today's a perfect day to come grab Riley and take him fishing. What you doing? Or how about Wednesday? I need to go get my hair done. You want to go take Riley fishing Wednesday? They get to spend time with him. They love it. He loves it. Things like that. It's okay. And my mom always taught me, never rob someone else of a blessing. I have a really hard time accepting anything from anyone. So to grow who I am, I've had to learn to say, I could use your help. Oh, yeah. Tracy called me and asked me anytime I need anything, let him know. Take him fishing, take him hunting, come sit with Raleigh, come hang out, whatever it is. So those are ways. Sometimes we're controlling and we think nobody else can do as good as we can, but they can. They can. So that's the mindset I hope to inspire women or caregivers. I mean, I know there's a lot of men caregivers too, but it's okay. And we don't have to have guilt that we go do something for ourselves, because that's what else I hear a lot say is, but I just feel so guilty if I leave him at home for 3 hours. Well, really? I mean, you're robbing yourself of away from your friends or what you want to do, or read, like you said, doing something for you or just to breathe. So it's a control thing, I think, for myself.
I think that is a very common thing. I hear that a lot. And the thing about it is, what I say is, if you don't recharge, then you can't give back and take care of everybody that's in your life that needs your assistance and help. And it is a hard thing to ask for help, to say, I can't do this all by myself, or can you help with this, or just letting somebody come in and letting loose of the controls, because we kind of feel like we let loose of the controls and all the balls that we have up in the air are going to fall off the table, and that's not true. That's an old belief that we're the only ones that can do it. And so by recreating a new mindset that says, I'm going to share this blessing, and I love how you said that, with other people that really want to give back, and that allows you to recharge and to do the things that is just for you, like taking that nice hot shower, going for a walk, or visiting with your girlfriends, or shopping for yourself, or whatever that is that recharges you. It's such a wonderful lesson. And the thing about it is, we get so immersed in all the details that we can't step back and see that we need that time for ourselves.
That's part of the problem, because that's where it sent me a little over a year ago, because I did think I had to do everything and I had to have everything figured out and I had to please everybody until I crashed.
I wanted to get to that because I wanted to ask you, is there a moment where you've been giving and like Robin said, I'm so inspired and in awe that, yes, good for you for asking and for saying, hey, listen, come and take him. It's a beautiful day to go fishing, because so many people were like, oh, let me know if you need my help. Let me know if you need my help. But it's so hard to actually take that step and say, okay, yes, come take him fishing, please. So well done, you. But is there a point where it was just, you knew that something had to give? And I think you mentioned it came down to your own health, didn't it?
It did. It did. So I didn't realize how much stress I was stuffing and wanting, you don't want to, all that guilt, all that I've got to do everything, all the things. You don't realize how stuffing stress affects your whole body. all of your organs, I'm telling you, and because I was so healthy, and I don't mean so healthy, but I had a good BMI. Like I said, I worked out and was active and all the things. I didn't realize what was happening right here. And that's why I'm passionate about helping people before they get to the point that I was, because I was at a broken place. I was taking naps. I had no energy. I was depleted. I was having heart palpitations. I was feeling dizzy when I would get up in the morning. I was having chest pains. Like literally, I thought, okay, I'm about to have a heart attack. I really don't know what's going on with me, which is when I found the new doctor that has helped me tremendously. She made me monitor my blood pressure. Well, girls, my blood pressure was through the roof. I'm like, me? I don't understand, Well, yeah, because you've been stuffing stress. Like it affects your heart, it affects your hormones, it affects your whole being, like everything. And so I knew, okay, he can't make it without me. Okay. I don't want him to make it without me. I've got to start taking care of me in a better way. I've got to work toward being a healthier version of myself, not here, not what I look like, but here.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's what I've been working on for a year now. That being said, while I'm hormonal, while I'm menopausal, but I'm just saying, yeah, I did get to a bad place, and I see caregivers do that. And so my goal is to help people before they get to the place I was.
I know you're still on the journey to try new things. What are some things that you find that you can share with other women in your situation to kind of help deal with some of those silent stresses, to unstuff them and start letting them release?
Well, we covered some of them, just knowing that you can't do everything.
Yeah.
I mean, young moms get a babysitter every once in a while, right? So they can have a break. They love their kids to death, but you need a break. Okay. You need a break every once in a while. Those kinds of things, to where I wouldn't do that. I wouldn't do that. And now I'm doing that. And to say it's okay, and to do those things. And actually, because I'm so high strung, I wouldn't allow myself to slow down long enough to take good deep breaths. And I'm amazed at how these breathing techniques really lessen your stress. Like I wasn't one to do that. Like I used to do Zumba and all the more the better. I couldn't calm myself enough to do these. And now I'm seeing the benefit of it. And I'm more in tune with, the older I get, the more benefits I'm getting from the yoga and the Pilates, but the breathing is huge, because that's what helps your oxygen get to your brain and all the things. And I think I was holding my breath all the time.
Yeah. I do the same. I tend to hold my breath. And those when I was younger and I get massages, they'd say, will you please breathe? You're just holding your breath. As a hypnotist, that is built into everything that I do with my own clients. Is we start with taking those deep breaths, not even with any rhythm or pattern, although I have taken some actual breathwork courses that are fantastic, that I had no idea just how powerful those are. But just, even what I do is just taking the deep breaths, hold it for a moment, and then exhaling them. You feel it, and it feels good, but knowing too that it is having such a powerful physical effect on all of your systems in your body, just as simple as breathing properly.
Yes.
Right.
I wanted to ask a question, because in our previous conversation, you had mentioned that your faith was taking a real challenge going through being a caregiver. And of course, all the duties, are building up, and the silent stressors. And how is this spiritually for you as you're going through that?
Yeah. So I share with you girls, I'm a believer, and I was one of the moms that drug her kids to church. I started saying Monday, Sunday morning, Sunday night, and Wednesday night, and just faithful to the Lord. I'll put it that way. I mean, because I know we all have different ways of showing God and praising Him and all the things. So I don't mean to label that. I'm just saying that I've been very involved believer and Christian. And that was one of the things that really bothered me. Robin, thank you for asking me, is my husband gets very nervous in crowds, very unsettled, has a hard time walking some days and all the things. So it's like you disconnect a little more and a little more from certain things, which for me was extremely hard. And then that with me stuff and stress and all the things, it's almost like you forget who's in control. Because like I said, I'm a control freak, right? So it really led me back to, I know what the Lord's done in mine and Riley's life, and Riley knows what he's done in our life, and just giving him everything, even like this podcast, even us talking, having you girls in my life now. I mean, he knows what we need. We're the ones that don't trust. And I just had to say, like I said last year, when I'm finding out all the health issues and all the things, I'm like, what have I been doing? So if I'm stuffing all this stress, then I'm not giving it to the Lord, right?
Right.
I'm
Yep.
keeping it.
Right. Yes.
I'm keeping it.
Yeah.
And I'm the one trying to carry it all.
Yes.
And that's where I ended up. And I realized that he don't intend for us to be stressed out, right? And he's the one that's got it all. So yeah, when you're working on your, like I said, your heart, your mind, your body, your spirit, everything, it all is hand in hand. It's full circle. So yeah, just realizing it's not me, Lord, it's you. And
Right.
he's the one that gives me the strength each and every day. Here's the other thing I prayed for. And I'll share this. Lord, help me love my husband the way you love me. I write prayers on my daily calendar. You know, people say, oh, you need to go all digital with your calendar. I probably never will, because I like writing on my calendars, and I keep them year after year, and I write my prayers on there. But that is the one prayer that now I have learned to pray. Help me to love my husband the way you love me. And if we all did that, what a better world we would have. What more marriages that we would have that would last, all the things. But that's just me, but that's what holds me and gets me through. And now I can grab his hand and say, let's dance, and, step, touch, and we just make fun with it.
It's beautiful.
That's awesome. That's such a great example. The mind, the body, the whole person, because you can't leave your spirituality out when it's so connected, because that's your belief system is the underlying, it's part of your foundation.
Absolutely.
And when you take care of that spirituality in whatever form or fashion that is, I can't tell you how much that affects the physical and the mental state in your body. Because if we didn't have something to believe in, we would just be robots and droids and just do what we're programmed to do. But having the ability to spiritually connect and to show our love and to be loved, that is such a strong and powerful, because the bottom line is, when you're giving love and you're showing love, then you don't have time to be selfish or self-centered, right? Because it's all, giving is such a powerful tool, and it refuels you and it recharges you, and it reconnects you when you give that love. Thank you for sharing that.
We're always saying the message that we get out in this podcast is to women that are struggling, you are not alone in this. And you're not alone, even beyond us and these other ladies in this group. When you have that spiritual, that connection to God or your higher power, you're not alone. You are definitely, we're not alone when you have that connection.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. I really love how this conversation is going, but we're at a time where we need to kind of wrap it up. So, Kimberly, what's the message that you want to give? You're one of our care providers. So when you're speaking to the women in our group, what's on your heart to say to them?
Of course, you said it. You're not alone. You're not alone on this journey of menopause, but just being a woman. And here's something that I've heard in the past that I want to address just a little. So I hear teachers or leaders or whatever saying, now, if you think you can do it, you can do it. I'm not going to tell you, if you think you can do something, that you can do it, because that's just really not true. I think we're giving people false expectations in that because, girl, if I wanted to run a 400-yard dash and win the Olympics, well, I might want to do that, but I can't do that, right? I physically and mentally can't do that. I guess what I'm trying to say is you can do hard things. Choose your hard things, and you know what you can truly do. So not to set expectations of something that you truly know that you couldn't do. Does this make sense? Because I've been told some false things that I could do certain things for the past 5 years. Well, no, I couldn't. And I believed it. So then I felt disappointed. I felt that I let myself down, my family down, and all the things because I had. So I'm just encouraging you that, yeah, you can do hard things. You're gifted to do certain hard things. So use your gifts that you have, that you're talented with. Because, the Lord gave 3 men talents in the Bible. 2 went and multiplied theirs, and 1 hid his because he was afraid he wasn't going to have no more. But he's blessed us all with talents. So I would say use your talents and really own into that because you're made for more. You're made for more than what you think you're made for, and you can do hard things. It's just choose your hard things that you're capable of doing.
And then to add on to that is when we're struggling, and this is something that I guide my clients through, is when you're struggling, especially when you're like dealing with those hard things. I can't go out and win a marathon. However, like you said, we have done hard things. And so what I recommend people do is take a moment and go back and remember those hard things that we did. And it could be winning the art contest in 4th grade. It's graduating high school. It's going to college and getting your degree while raising your family at the same time. It's getting that promotion. It's battling an illness. And it's all the big things and the little things along the way. Take a moment and go back and remember that feeling, remembering where that strength comes from, who that strength comes from, and bring that in. And that will help carry you into your next big thing in front of you. Yeah, the realistic thing, the things, like you said, choose the hard. You have those talents. And when you need that boost, remember those victories, remember your successes.
Yes, so true. I totally agree with you. I think that also, just to add on to that a little bit, accepting yourself where you're at right now today, and really looking realistically on what are your hard things, or what is it that you'd like to accomplish, and then make sure that they're reasonable so you don't set yourself up for failure. Be proactive in your life, move steps forward, and do them in a real way where you can see accomplishments. And I guess that's a difference between having goals and setting goals and having a dream. A dream is wonderful to have, but it has no timeline, it has no realistic anything. It's just, it's a dream. But actually having a goal that you actually put a timeline on, that's realistic, that you're not setting yourself up for failure. I'm a coach, so I talk a lot about goals and things like that. And ladies, if there's any of you that would ever like to reevaluate where you are in your life and setting goals, are they realistic? How do I get there? I'm the girl to talk to. Okay, I'm just shamelessly putting a little plug in there. But as a coach, that's what I do, is I help people to find their goals, their passions, and make them happen. Kimberly, I am so glad that you were here with us. I just love your message. You are such a lovely lady. And ladies in the group, when you see Kimberly, give her a little shout out and some love, because boy, this woman has such a wonderful heart and a wonderful passion for caregivers. And she's been through so much. So use her wisdom,
Kim, you do support women caregivers as well. Is there a way that if someone is going through a journey similar to you, they're either a caregiver and they're going through menopause, how do they find you?
They can find me on Facebook, or I have a website. It's just www.com. And I host once a month some care and share Zooms with caregivers. Most of us have husbands with Parkinson's or moms with Parkinson's. There's several different women, but it doesn't have to just be someone with Parkinson's. It's caregivers. And that is leaned toward more about us caregivers and how they can better care for themselves and get over some of the hurdles of the stress, the anxiety, or the daily to daily task, and not feel guilty. All those things is what I have structured out for the year. So we do that once a month. And if you reach out to me, I can give you the links and those kinds of things. I have the event set up for that. Yeah.
We'll
Wonderful.
put those links in below so that you can check those out and check Kimberly website and Facebook out and her group. If you're a caregiver, boy, this is a place for you.
Well, I want to say thank you for having me. I've really enjoyed it. I've just enjoyed getting to know you ladies as well. And the time here has been great. And yeah, I just want to be an encouragement to people, and help them that might be going through some of the same struggles. And one other thing, I know we're about out of time. It's not just caregiving for your spouse, but, all of us at our age, we're in that sandwich age. And I talk with a lot of caregivers that it's their parents. It's hard living in a separate home as well, trying to care for your parent, your elderly parent that's very set in their ways and wants everything exactly the way they want it. And whether that be with dementia or without dementia, that's hard on people too. And they're trying to live a life at home and take care of them, and they're just running from here to there, and it gets very taxing. There's a lot of us out there that's that age as well.
Yes.
Definitely.
Thank you so much for sharing. And any last thoughts, Marti, before we wrap it up?
Just want to share for those women that are looking for more options as far as dealing with stress and overwhelm and anxiety, caregiver or not, if you really want to looking at why that's happening, especially during menopause, and learn about what can be done about it. I have a free presentation on my website, martidaly.com. It's about 45 minutes. It explains hypnosis behind it and how that helps, and it tells more about what I do. The webinar is called The 5-Step Strategy Women Need to Reduce Stress, Anxiety, and Mood Swings During Menopause, even if you're tired and overwhelmed. You can watch that, and they'll give you an opportunity to jump on a free call with me, and we can really just kind of flesh out. It's not a sales call. It's not a coaching call. It's more deciding where you are. What are you struggling with? Can I help you? We can talk about what that looks like. If I can't help you, I know a lot of women who probably can, and I can refer you on. So that's out there as well. You can connect with me through my website. You can connect with me in the Facebook group. If you're in the menopause support group, just direct message me. Also on our Facebook page for this podcast called the Menowave Lounge. You can reach Robin and I that way. Just send us a message and we'll get back to you. Lots of ways to get a hold of us. And if you want to get a hold of Kim too, you can reach out to us or any of the other providers that we've spoken to just thus far. Reach out to us. We'll get you in touch. We'll get you taken care of, because as we've said, and we're going to keep hammering this point home, you are not alone. You do not have to go through this alone. There is a wealth of women out here who are ready to wrap our arms around you and support you with whatever way that looks like best for you. And so, Kim, it's been an absolute pleasure. Thank you for what you do and for the hope and the light that you provide for other women. It is a tough role, it is a tough time. And thank you for your vulnerability and for sharing.
Yes. Thank you so
Keep
much.
in touch.
Okay, everyone, until next time, this is the Menowave Lounge, hot flashes and cool conversations. We'll see you next time.
Yeah,
Bye.
Thank you for joining us in the Menowave Lounge. If you'd like to connect with Marti, Robin, our guests, or any of our expert Menowave care providers for personalized advice and support, head on over to our website at menowave.org and fill out an assessment that will match you with a provider who knows just how to help. Remember, you don't have to face menopause alone. Our team is here to provide the guidance and care you deserve. So, take that step towards reclaiming your well-being and connect with a Menowave care provider today. Thank you again for tuning in, and we'll catch you on the next episode of the Menowave Lounge, hot flashes and cool conversations.